Daring. Someone who is daring has the quality of being brave, audacious, and adventurous. That is, a person who is daring doesn't fail to take risks because he or she is not timid. Example, Jack Sparrow is a daring explorer. Dashing. Someone who is dashing is attractive, pleasant, and handsome in a stylish way because they are full of energy, strength, excitement, and confidence. Example, John is a dashing young man. Debauched. If someone is described as debauched, it means that they are excessively indulged in physical pleasures like having sex with many people or drinking alcohol in a socially unacceptable way. That means that they are so absorbed and wrapped up in these pleasures in an unacceptable way. Example, the history is replete with debauched kings. Debonair. If a man is described as debonair, then he is attractive, appealing, handsome, confident, and carefully dressed. That is, he is well dressed and looking handsome and confident. Example, John is a debonair student. Deceitful. If you describe someone as deceitful, you mean that they deceive other people either by concealing the truth or misrepresenting it. That means that they are dishonest and untruthful, they lie to others. Example, some politicians are certainly deceitful. Depraved. Someone who is depraved is morally bad, evil, or corrupt. That suggests that they disregard what's right according to the code of behavior of a particular society. Example, he was a depraved lecher. Devious. A devious person is a clever and skillful person who uses indirect tactics or ways to achieve what they desire for. That means a devious person is clever and skillful but dishonest because he or she uses tactics indirectly which are not known to other people. Example, a businessman can be a devious person. Diligent. If you are diligent, you're hardworking. You want to anyhow achieve your goals through your hard work. That implies that you constantly make efforts and are persistent in doing what you are doing in order to achieve your destiny. Example, John is a diligent research scholar. Discreet. If you describe someone as discreet, you mean that they are polite and careful in their speech and action. That means that they do not want to offend or embarrass someone by doing to or saying something about them. Example, John is discreet, so he is careful about what he says and does. Disobedient. If someone is disobedient, they are the people who don't do what they are asked to do by the people who hold authority. The people in authority can be a father, a teacher, or someone else. Example, your son is really a disobedient child who never does as I say. Cowardly. If someone is described as cowardly, it means that they are afraid of undertaking any risky, dangerous, or painful task. That is, they are not brave and they lack courage. Example, John is a cowardly man. He can't jump into the pond. Crafty. If you call someone a crafty man, you mean that they are very clever in a deceitful way. That is, someone who is crafty achieves their aims and targets by deceiving people. Example: John is a very crafty old man who will anyhow achieve his aims. Craven. If you describe someone as craven, you mean that they are extremely fearful and timid. That is, a craven person is a cowardly person who lacks in courage. Example: only the craven people will retreat, leaving the battlefield. Crisp. If a person's way of speaking is described as crisp, it means that the way of speaking is quick, which suggests that the person is busy or he or she is not friendly and doesn't want to talk. Example: John's reply was crisp. He didn't tell about the matter in detail. Crude. If someone is described as a crude man, then they are very rude and offensive. That means that they are not polite and they speak or behave in such a way that makes other people upset or annoyed. Example: John is a crude and barbaric man. Cunning. If someone is described as cunning, it means that they are the people who get what they want by tricking other people. This implies that they deceive other people in order to get what they want. Example: John is a cunning man. Cutie. If you call someone a cutie, you find them attractive, pleasant, and appealing, and you like them a lot because of their attractiveness. Example: your baby girl is a real cutie. Conscious. Someone who is described as conscious is the one who is aware of what's happening around them. That is, someone conscious knows what happens there. Example: please don't speak loudly, because he is still conscious. Cognizant. If you are cognizant of something, such as some problem or situation, you are aware of it, you understand or realize it. That means that you are aware of the problem or situation. Example: you need not mention it. We are certainly cognizant of the situation. Carefree. A person who is carefree is the one who doesn't have any problems, worries, or responsibilities. That is to say that a carefree person is free from anxiety or responsibility. Example: when we were children, we were totally carefree. Conniving. Someone who is conniving plans secretly to do something that is immoral, illegal, or harmful. That is, a conniving person makes plans in a secret place for their own advantage to harm other people. Example: John is an emotionless and conniving person. Conscientious. If you describe someone as conscientious, you mean that they are a diligent and hardworking person who is concerned with doing something carefully, successfully, and correctly. That is, a person who is conscientious does a lot of hard work and does something correctly. Example: John's daughter is a conscientious student. Considerate. A considerate person is the one who always thinks about other people's wishes, feelings, and emotions. That is, a considerate person never hurts others. Example: as a boss, John is polite and considerate towards his employees. Contrary. You must have ordered some child to do something who didn't listen to you. On contrary, he or she did something other than what you ordered him or her to do. These children are described as contrary children, who behave badly and do not do what you ask them to do. Example, my son is a contrary child who never does as I say. Cool. If someone is described as cool, it means that they are very calm and not worried about the bad situation they have created. That is, a cool person is not influenced by any strong feelings such as anger, surprise, or sadness. Example, in spite of the fact that John had broken the cell phone, he looked cool. Corrupt. Have you ever in life had an experience that you went to some officer for help who asked for money dishonestly from you using his or her position or power? If you have, you can call that particular officer a corrupt officer who uses position or power in order to get money. Example, the greedy nature makes one corrupt. Courageous. You must have seen someone who speaks out against injustice being done, or someone who doesn't fear any danger or pain. That kind of person is called courageous, who is not afraid of speaking his or her mind, for example. Example, as a leader, John was fearless and courageous, who never failed to speak out against injustice. Courteous. Someone who is courteous is a polite, respectful, and considerate person. That is, a courteous person doesn't show rudeness, disrespect, nor hurt or upset other people. Example, I may disagree with someone, but I am always courteous. Covidiot. Covidiot is someone who doesn't observe the guidelines designed to prevent the spread of COVID-19. An interesting fact about the word covidiot is that this word is a blend of COVID-19 and idiot, used for someone who doesn't follow the guidelines prescribed. Example, during COVID-19, some covidiots didn't follow the guidelines. Coy. Someone who is coy pretends to be shy intentionally so that they can attract the attention of the person they want. That is, someone who is described as coy wants to get people interested in them by trying to be shy. Example, Sophia was coy about her age. She didn't reveal her age when I asked her to. Clean cut. If you describe someone as clean cut, you mean that they are appealing, attractive, and handsome in appearance and have decent behavior because they have neat, clean, and decent look. Example, John is a nice, kind, and clean-cut man. Clean living. Someone who is described as clean living is the one who leads a life in a healthy and morally acceptable and standard way of living. That is, a clean living person abstains from bad habits such as smoking or drug consumption. Example, John's father is a clean living person who has never touched even a cigarette. Cocky. If you describe someone as cocky, you mean that they are a little bit arrogant, conceited, and overconfident in an annoying way because they have achieved some goal or done something good. Example, John got a little cocky when he cracked the IELTS exam with an overall 9 band. Cold-hearted. Someone cold-hearted doesn't have feelings and emotions and love and care. That is, a cold-hearted person has no feeling about someone's suffering and pain. Example, a cold-hearted person has done this brutality. Coltish. Someone who is described as coltish is full of energy, strength, and vitality. but is awkward in their behavior. That is, a coltish person is not disciplined. Example: Sophia is a coltish girl. Committed. If you describe someone as committed, you mean that they are bound, obligated, and dedicated to someone or something they love. That is, they are ready to give their precious time and energy to them. Example: John is a committed teacher who's dedicated his entire life to teaching and training students. Companionable. Someone who is companionable is kind and pleasant to be with, a sociable person with whom you can engage in talk or conversation or other activities. Example: John is a companionable person, so everyone wants to make him their friend. Compassionate. If you're a compassionate person, you feel pity, show sympathy, and have understanding for the people who are going through suffering, pain, or agony. That is, if you're compassionate, you're sympathetic towards the people suffering and you want to help them. Example: John was a deeply compassionate man who always sympathized with the people who were suffering. Competent. If you are competent, you have the required ability or skill to do something successfully and efficiently. That is, you are capable, skillful, and able to do something well. Example: after the careful assessment of his qualifications, John was found to be competent for the job. Conceited. If you sound conceited, you're actually excessively proud of yourself because your actions and achievements. That is, you're too proud of yourself if you are conceited. Example: at the party, John sounded a bit conceited. Canny. If you describe someone as canny, you mean that they are clever, shrewd, and sharp-witted, especially in business or financial matters. That is, someone who is canny will think quickly and make the best choices advantageous for them. Example: only canny investors choose the best place to invest in. Catty. Someone who is catty makes a spiteful, malicious, and hurtful statement about other people. That is, a catty person deliberately uses unkind, unpleasant, and hurtful words towards other people. Example: John's father is a catty person. Cautious. If someone is described as cautious, it means that they are very alert and careful to avoid dangers. That is, a cautious person is very careful about what they are saying or doing in order to avoid mistakes or dangers. Example: teachers are cautious about what they say in the classrooms. Charitable. If you describe someone as charitable, you mean that they are kind in their attitude towards other people. That is, a charitable person is a forgiving person who judges people leniently in a positive way. Example: John is a charitable person, so he will forgive your mistakes. Chatty. Someone who is chatty is talkative, who keenly takes interest in an informal conversation or talk. That is, a chatty person engages in a friendly conversation. Example: when I met John in his chamber, I found him a chatty person. Cheeky. Someone who is described as cheeky is rude or disrespectful in a funny or annoying way. That is, a cheeky person doesn't show respect to others in a funny way. Example: the teacher asked John not to get cheeky. Chicken. If you describe someone as chicken, you mean that they are afraid, fearful, or frightened to undertake a risky task. This negative informal word is used for a person who lacks courage and bravery. Example: John doesn't dare to jump. He is chicken. Chirpy. A person who is chirpy is active, cheerful, and enthusiastic. That is, someone who is chirpy is in a good mood. Example: I saw John positively chirpy in the morning. Chivalrous. If a man is described as chivalrous, it means that he is polite, kind, honest, loyal, generous, and respectful, especially towards women. This word can be positive or negative depending on the context. Example: as John was a chivalrous person, he offered his coat to his fellow female teacher. Churlish. If you describe someone as churlish, you mean that they are rude, unfriendly, bad-tempered, or impolite. That is, someone who is churlish has bad behavior. Example: my new friend invited me to his party. He'll think me churlish if I reject his invitation. Brain box. A very intelligent, clever, and quick-witted person is described as brain box. This word is chiefly British and can be used as one word as in brain box or two words as in brain box. Example: because John was brought up in a highly educated family, he grew up a total brain box. Braggart. Someone who proudly talks a lot about himself or herself and his or her achievements or positions is described as braggart. That is, someone who boastfully displays their abilities, achievements, or positions is called braggart. Example: John always keeps talking of his own excellence. He is really a braggart. Brisk. A person who is very active, quick, and full of energy, strength, and vitality, and says only what is necessary, is called a brisk person. Example: in the office, he was brisk and businesslike. Broad-minded. Someone willing to accept many different types of behavior, beliefs, or choices in other people is called broad-minded. That is, someone who is tolerant, liberal in views, and free from prejudice, biasness, and bigotry is described as broad-minded. Example: my father is a broad-minded person. Bull-headed. Someone who is very determined to do what they want to do, especially without considering other people's feelings, is called bull-headed. That is, a bull-headed person is a blindly stubborn or headstrong person. Example: I don't like John as he is a bull-headed person who never cares about others' feelings. Busybody. A meddling or prying person who is too much interested in the private lives of other people is called busybody. That is, this disapproving word is used for someone who involves in the matters that do not belong to them. Example: John is an interfering busybody. Bubbly. Someone who is bubbly is very lively and cheerful and talks a lot. That is, this word positively describes a woman who is cheerful, energetic, and pleasant. Example: your daughter is a cute and bubbly girl. Brute. If you call somebody a brute, you mean that they are savagely rough, severely violent towards others, and extremely insensitive to others' feelings. Example: Castor was an idiot and a brute, and he deserved his fate. Bleeding heart. Someone who shows too much sympathy for everyone is called bleeding heart. That is, if you describe someone as a bleeding heart, you criticize them for being too much sympathetic towards people who are in need without doing anything practical to help. Example: Not all politicians are a bleeding heart. Bone idle. This disapproving word is used for someone who is extremely lazy, who always tries to avoid work, or who doesn't want to use energy and strength. Example: I'm sick of John because he is nothing but a bone idle. Brash. A person who is self assertive, expressing themselves confidently and forcefully in a rude, noisy, and overbearing way, is called brash. That is, someone who is a brash person expresses themselves confidently and forcefully in a manner that shows rudeness and arrogance so that they can attract attention to their views. Example: John is a brash and arrogant man. Belligerent. Someone who is hostile, aggressive, and argumentative, who is willing to fight or argue, is called belligerent. That is, a belligerent person is the one who shows opposition and dislike and is ready to attack or argue. Example: She was so belligerent that I gave up trying to explain. Benign. A good-natured, gentle, and pleasant person is called benign. That is, someone who is benign has kindness, gentleness, and tenderness in their speech and action. Example: John will prove to be a benign leader. Bigot. A person who is obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonist towards a person or people on the basis of the membership of a particular group. Example: Don't let a few small minded bigots destroy the good image of the city. Bitchy. If someone is bitchy, then they are malicious or spiteful. That is, someone who is bitchy causes harm to other people by using unkind words about them. Example: I'm fed up with Sophia. She is so bitchy. Bolshy. If you describe someone as bolshy, you mean that they easily get angry and do not do what other people want them to do. That is, a person who is bolshy moves to anger quickly and does not cooperate. Example: John is bolshy at not getting the promotion. Biased. Someone who is biased shows an unreasonable like or dislike for someone or something based on personal opinions. Example: I'm not biased in expressing the opinion that my daughter is gorgeous. Boastful. If someone is described as boastful, then they show excessive pride and self satisfaction in their achievements, possessions, or abilities. That is, they are excessively proud of themselves and their achievements. Example: People don't like John as he always seems to be rather boastful. Boisterous. Someone who is noisy, energetic, and rough is called boisterous. That is, someone who is boisterous, makes a lot of noise, is full of vitality, energy, and strength, and often violent. Example: these are disgustingly boisterous children. Bouncing. A baby who is strong, healthy, full of energy, and happy is called a bouncing baby. Example: Sophia gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Assured. If you are assured of something, you are certain to get it. That is, to be assured of something means to be certain about the fact that something will certainly be achieved or obtained. Example: don't worry, John, you are assured of success in the entrance test. Astute. Astute means having or showing an ability to accurately assess situations or people and turn this to one's advantage. That is to say that an astute person is a shrewd person who is very clever and quick at seeing what to do in a given situation, especially how to get an advantage. Example: John is an astute businessman. Audacious. If someone is audacious, they are extremely bold, daring, fearless, and recklessly brave. That is, an audacious person is a very brave person who doesn't fear anything. Example: Jack Sparrow is an audacious explorer. Attentive. Someone who is paying close attention, watching and listening carefully with great interest is called attentive. Example: John is an attentive student who listens carefully to what I teach in the classroom. Articulate. Someone who is able to express thoughts and feelings easily and clearly, or showing this quality. That is, an articulate person can express thoughts and ideas in an easy, clear, and understandable way. Example: John is a highly intelligent and articulate man. Artful. A person who is very clever and skillful and can achieve what they desire for in a crafty and cunning way, especially by deceiving people. Example: John is an artful and cunning politician. Argumentative. If someone is described as argumentative, then he or she is the one who has or shows a tendency to disagree or argue with other people. Example: John always tends to have an argument with me. He is an argumentative man. Approachable. A kind, pleasant, and easy to talk to person who allows everyone to approach them and welcomes the people who want to talk their problems over is called an approachable person. Example: our chairperson is approachable. Go and talk your problems over with her. Affectionate. Someone who shows caring feelings, fondness, and love for another person is called affectionate. That is, they show gentleness in their speech and action. Example: John is very affectionate towards his children. Accommodating. This word is used to describe a person who is eager or willing to help other people, for example, by changing his or her plans. That is, they want to fit in with someone's wishes and needs. Example: I'm sure she'll help you. She's always very accommodating. Resourceful. Someone quick witted, clever, and talented, who has the skill and ability to quickly and successfully solve problems and difficulties and make decisions on their own, is called resourceful. Example, for quick solution, we look to John because he is a very resourceful man. Versatile, an all-rounder, multi-skilled, and multi-talented person who can perform different tasks, activities, and functions is called versatile. Example, John is a versatile actor who can play different roles. Cantankerous, a bad-tempered, argumentative, and uncooperative person who easily gets angry, starts arguing and complaining, and doesn't do what other people ask to do is called cantankerous, a cranky or a strange person. Example, John's got a little cantankerous in his old age. Cynical, a person who believes that people are motivated solely by their self-interest. They are selfish, only interested in themselves, and dishonest, not sincere. Example, she has a pretty cynical view of men. Fussy, someone who is very concerned with unimportant details and is difficult to please is called fussy. That is, they are concerned with each and every minor detail of something. Example, she is really fussy about who she goes out with. Vain, a person who is too interested in their own appearance and achievements is called vain. That is, they are too concerned with and too proud of their appearance and achievements. Example, he was very vain about his hair and his clothes. Prejudiced, a biased, bigoted, and one-sided person who has or shows an unreasonable dislike or distrust derived from prejudice for something or someone is called prejudiced. Example, John is prejudiced against me. Animated, a person who is very active, lively, full of excitement, interest, and energy is called animated. Example, during the speech he delivered, he looked animated. Assertive, someone who is assertive, behaves confidently, and is not frightened to say what they want or believe is called an assertive person. Example, if you really want the promotion, you will have to be more assertive. Assiduous, an industrious, diligent, and hardworking person who shows hard work, care, and attention to detail is called assiduous. Example, John is an assiduous student who always remains studying in the library. Conscientious, someone who always thinks of their work, takes it seriously, and puts a lot of effort into their work is called conscientious. Example, my students are conscientious. Courteous, a person who is well-mannered and civil, who has a behavior that is respectful, and who shows deference and respect towards other people is called courteous. Example, although some people may disagree with you, yet they are courteous to you. Gregarious, a person who hates solitude and loneliness, who loves company, who wants to stay attached to the world, and who wants to be with other people is called gregarious. A sociable person who engages in conversation, talk, and other activities with other people. Example, it turns out that John is a gregarious man because he has a very long circle of friends and colleagues. Abrasive, a person who is very rude, impolite, and discourteous to others, and whose tone, style, or manner hurts other people's feelings is called abrasive, a rude, unkind, and unfriendly man. Example, it doesn't matter to John that his tone hurts others' feelings. He is really an abrasive man. Affable, a person who is kind, pleasant, friendly, easy to talk to, and approachable is called affable. Example, our new professor is an affable person. Ebullient, a person who is full of energy, cheerful, positive, and happy is called ebullient. Example, my grandfather is naturally ebullient. Aloof, a person who remains detached, who is not friendly, who doesn't take part in conversation, and who doesn't participate in things that are happening around them is called aloof. Example, when they argued, John remained aloof. Adroit, someone who is very clever, skillful, and quick in their thoughts, behavior, and actions is called adroit. Example, as a leader, John can persuade people to accept his ideas because he is a remarkably adroit person. Obnoxious, someone who is highly offensive, annoying, objectionable, very unpleasant, and rude to other people is called obnoxious. Example, when she is in a bad mood, she is obnoxious to everyone. Angelic, someone who is exceptionally beautiful or handsome, innocent, good, kind, and virtuous like angels is called angelic. Example, as Sophia looks angelic, no one can reject her.